Last weekend was the conclusion of a 3-day fall donor conference held by the liberal organization, Democracy Alliance. The event, held at Costa Resort in Carlsbad, California, hosted famous progressivists all with the goal of resisting President Trump. As expected, anti-American billionaire and co-founder of Democracy Alliance, George Soros, was involved in the event. As _Fox News reported, Democracy Alliance conference documents outlined the goals and steps in the group's resistance efforts, along with details of their strategy. Part of the strategy, spurred by Soros and his abundant donations, is to heavily fund the campaigns of liberal progressive prosecutors, an effort that will be ramped up in 2018. The conference focused, in part, on the importance of prosecutor races, a section of which was hosted by Soros. The event included an early peek at more than 30 hot races taking place in 2018 in key battleground states. Progressive prosecutors are winning, from Florida to Pennsylvania, Texas to Illinois, the conference documents read. Bold reform candidates have been propelled by movement players and driven record voter turnout of African Americans, Latinos and millennials, and are shifting the political narrative. The conference, held at a posh resort for the ultra-wealthy, also hosted other big-name liberals. Representative Nancy Pelosi, D. California, Governor Tom Wolf, DPA, Senator Amy Klobuchar, DMN, Representative Ban Ray-Lujan, DMN, and Governor-elect Ralph Northam, DVA, were among some of the headlining speakers. Other special guests and speakers included failed political candidate Sandra Fluke, CNN contributor Van Jones, and Center for American Progress CEO Neera Tanden. The Democracy Alliance is an organization co-founded by Soros and serves as a secretive network of ultra-wealthy progressive liberals. The organization decides on other like-minded groups and causes which they direct their donations to. Last year, Soros directed over $3 million of his own funds to at least 7 local district attorney races in 6 states, focusing on Black and Hispanic candidates with progressive agendas like Soros. He spent additional funds through state super PACs and national groups, all named Justice and Public Safety or some variation of the name. He began the efforts in 2015 as a way to overhaul the justice system. An example of his efforts was seen this August, when it was reported that Soros directed nearly $1.7 million to a local PAC to support the campaign of a district attorney in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Philadelphia Justice and Public Safety PAC was intended to back progressive district attorney candidate, Larry Krasner. The Republican candidate, Beth Grossman, said it was disturbing for Soros, an outsider who lacks knowledge of public safety issues, to throw such huge funds behind her opponent. So you have that kind of agenda along with George Soros, and suddenly, the role of the DA's office is not to conduct a grand social experiment, it is to enforce the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania justly and fairly, and to protect the constitutional rights of everybody, victims, witnesses, as well as those accused of crime, Grossman said. Progressive icon George Soros is inserting his ideologically earmarked funding into an effort targeting the election of prosecutors across the country. Does this move indicate a corruption of the judicial system? She continued. Soros blows into town, he dumps millions of dollars into this. There are volunteers, I don't know whether he pays them or where they come from, who come in and try to get people to the polls and pass out literature, and then they leave town. I have concerns, if he gets elected, my opponent, I don't want us to turn into a Baltimore. I don't want us to turn into a Chicago. It's really disturbing, we have one of the finest public defenders' offices in the country, we don't need to. Soros' efforts were successful in Philadelphia and other key areas, and progressive Democrats have already taken their seats as district attorneys, where their dangerous ideologies will transfer through every case they decide. These situations will be more relevant if George Soros increases his efforts, as he's promised. He must be stopped.